All right, everybody, what's going on? Good afternoon. Hope you guys liked the stream with the Hawk's Nest that just concluded a little bit ago. If you didn't watch it, check the VOD. We got a rooting guide to get through, and the rooting guide, I mean, it's getting a little bit more real, a little bit more serious. I will acknowledge that we are kind of at the point now where Seattle just needs to keep winning, and the other stuff just almost kind of feels insignificant in comparison to that. Like, if they keep winning, they're fine. If they don't keep winning, they're probably going to be a wild card team. So I know that a lot of this stuff is unlikely to matter, but we can try to, at the very least, squeeze out a little bit of help where we can get it. So the Thursday night game, let's start with that because that's later today. This is getting kind of complicated, and we need to be a little bit careful here. So it's going to take me a little bit to talk through this one, Falcons Buccaneers. So bear with me as I try to get through it. Before we go any further into this video, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Let me tell you, if you're not using Sleeper this year for daily fantasy football, you are missing out. Check out the left side of your screen right now. Look at all the great fun stuff you can pick on over there. All kinds of over-unders, pretty much any sport you can imagine. Obviously, we're big fans of football around here. Let's take a look at my entry for this week. I've got Jerry Jeudy going over 34 yards against the Bears. I got Derrick Henry scoring a touchdown against the Bengals. I've got Pat Mahomes going under 241 passing yards against the Chargers. And I have Jason Myers kicking at least 2 field goals against the Colts. So get on over to Sleeper. You can put together an entry just like this. And if you use promo code SBN, you can get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Check them out and test your football knowledge. Okay, so surface level, we want Atlanta to win. And I think we probably do. We need Atlanta to win to push their draft pick that they're giving to the Rams down a little bit. Which, by the way, a lot of really, really bad teams in the league right now are holding the line. That pick is currently 9th overall, which is really not as bad as you would expect. And Tampa Bay remains a contender for the postseason in the NFC. So on the surface, we want Atlanta to win for those two reasons. However, here's the issue I'm having. Somebody in the NFC South has to make the playoffs. Like, literally, it's not like they can just leave out the NFC South. That team is going to be either Tampa or Carolina. And there's a very good chance Seattle has to play whoever wins the division in the first round. So, with those things in mind, I got to ask, who would you rather play? Tampa Bay has been terrible basically ever since they beat Seattle back in week 5. They've won, what, like 2 games? Baker Mayfield, and I'm being very serious here right now, however bad you think Baker Mayfield has been since the Seattle game, he's been worse. Legitimately, Baker Mayfield has been one of the probably the worst quarterback in football outside of like the Max Brosmers of the world. Guys who just have no chance whatsoever for some reason, and it's not all his fault, but Baker Mayfield has been completely incompetent for a while now. And you go to Tampa Bay and you think about the injuries that they have and the injuries that will continue to haunt them in that game. You are probably feeling pretty good about that one. But if it's Carolina, and I know Carolina has their own problems, but you're going to Carolina, a place where they play really good football, to the point where they just beat the Rams in Carolina. Like, at a certain point, this gets dangerous, right? If Tampa Bay keeps losing and Carolina can just hold serve, they may be your first round opponent. And I think that is much worse of a matchup because, again, like Carolina is actually good at home. I don't think Tampa Bay is good anywhere. They just lost at home to New Orleans. So that one's actually kind of complicated. We have to be careful that we don't end up messing up our season because we want Atlanta to have a lower pick. So I think we still want Atlanta to win, but be careful. Okay? I mean, I'm kind of now at the point where I want Tampa Bay to win the division because I think they're going to be easy to beat, and there's a very good chance Seattle plays them, whereas Carolina, and I know people are going to say, well, if we can't beat Carolina, we don't deserve to go deeper in the playoffs anyway, but I think we're kind of beyond that at this point because of the way Carolina's played. Okay, that's long enough for that game. Let's move on to Sunday. We have the Browns versus the Bears. I mean, while we're here, I guess we may as well hope that the Bears find another loss just because it pushes them down a little bit and it gives us a little bit more room to potentially lose games and still be ahead of them. We already got the loss we needed, but there's no reason why we can't hope for another, especially in a game like this where it means nothing to us if the Browns win or lose, really. I guess there's a little bit of strength of victory, but that's just with the 49ers. And Ravens Bengals. The Ravens lost to the Rams, so therefore we want the Ravens to keep losing. So we want the Bengals to win. Although it's very unlikely strength of victory plays a factor this year. We may as well push for it while we can. Chargers Chiefs. Yeah, nothing here. I don't think. Gee, I'm trying to think of an angle here. Like if the Chiefs lose this game, they're done. Like it's obviously over at that point. I don't think that really matters as far as the Seahawks are concerned. So I think that's kind of a nothing. Bills Patriots. I think that's probably another kind of nothing. Like I know the Bills beat Tampa Bay, so strength of victory, but Tampa Bay's already lost enough to where I'm not worried about a tiebreaker with them, honestly. Like Tampa Bay has done enough to hurt themselves to where I don't even really spend a lot of time thinking about that. Commanders Giants, two really bad teams here. The main interest we would have here, well, first of all, I guess strength of victory would say we want the Commanders to win. But I think a bigger consideration here, we want as many teams as possible to finish with a worse record than the Falcons for draft pick reasons. So I actually think we want the Giants to win, so that way you have both teams with 3 wins, and they're both going to be a game behind Atlanta. Whereas if the Commanders win, assuming the Falcons lose tonight, which is likely, they're going to draw even with Atlanta, and there's more opportunities for Atlanta to pick higher than them at the end of the year. So I think we actually want the Giants to win for that reason. All right, Raiders Eagles. I mean, while we're here, again, it's kind of like the Bears game. While we're here, we may as well root for another loss in the NFC, I guess. So even though it's very obviously not going to go our way, we may as well root for the Raiders. I would be careful. I would much rather have Philly in the playoffs than Dallas. Philly is going to get demolished in the playoffs. If we have to play Philly in round 1, which is a realistic possibility, we're gonna. I think we'd blow them out. I think it would not even be a good game at this point. If we had to play Dallas, I mean, I still think we'd win. To me, they're much more dangerous right now, especially against a team like Seattle. So I want to be careful, but if the Eagles want to lose another game, I don't mind it. I'll take my chances, right? Okay, Jets, Jaguars. Again, we beat Jacksonville and the Niners didn't, so strength of victory says we want the Jags to keep on piling on those W's. So Jacksonville, if they want to win out, I'm cool with that. So Jacksonville is the pick. Cardinals, Texans. So let's balance this out a little bit. This is going to take a second. We played the Texans and beat them once, but we played the Cardinals and beat them twice. Think about that. So strength of victory wise, we actually benefit more if Arizona wins. We also benefit more if Arizona wins because it hurts their pick. And at this point, that's all Arizona is. They're a team waiting to see what their draft pick is. So if the Cardinals win, that'll boost them up a little bit. It is a little bit icky because they may end up boosting their pick below where Atlanta is. And I'd rather have the Rams get a lower pick than the Cardinals. But we're going to have to hope that Atlanta can find a way to win a game or two down the stretch that doesn't pushes them back down with their pick. So I think we just have to live with that possibility and say we're rooting for the Cardinals. Packers Broncos. So this is what our first afternoon game. Yeah, pretty straightforward here. No reason to do anything other than root for Denver. Green Bay, they remain probably the main threat in the NFC for the 1 seed that is not LA or San Fran or Seattle. Like, other than those 3 NFC West teams, I think Green Bay is the only team with a real shot at the 1 seed now. So therefore, the more they lose, the more cushion they give, the more likely it is Seattle can be the 1 seed. So it is unlikely Seattle can get the 1 seed if they lose any of their remaining games, but you may as well try to massage the scenarios to get the desired result. Lions, Rams, I mean, this one, hey, if Detroit wants to do us another solid this week, that'd be great. I'm not afraid of Detroit in the playoffs. If Detroit makes the playoffs, I will take on that challenge with relish. I got no problem with that. And if they want to knock the Rams down a peg on the way, that'd be great. So sign me up for that. And that would open up a little bit of, maybe a little bit of room for error for Seattle, which is always nice. Okay, Panthers, Saints. Again, what I would say is that we need to be a little bit careful with Carolina here. I would prefer they not win the division. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but right now, if you have the opportunity to choose, you play Tampa Bay in the first round in Tampa, or you play Carolina in the first round in Carolina, right now it's a no-brainer. Tampa Bay has been so bad lately, it's really hard to imagine us losing to them. I can imagine us losing to Carolina. Like, it's not even that hard. I'm not saying I think we would, but that is a dangerous team at home. So I think we want the Saints to win. Again, it's a little bit icky. It pushes the Saints pick down, which could push the Rams pick from Atlanta back up. But we'll deal with that later. And for now, we're trying to protect our playoff spot. Okay, finally we got Titans Niners. Again, not really worth spending a lot of time hoping, but hey, Tennessee won a game last week. If they want to win another one, it's not like I think their pick is in any jeopardy of going too high. And at the end of the day, you got to have your priorities. And right now the priority is pushing the 49ers down so that there's more room for error and more opportunities to win the division, get a higher seed or whatever. So if the 49ers want to drop a game they got no business dropping, who am I to tell them no? Okay, Vikings, Cowboys. Cowboys are not completely done yet. They are most of the way done, but there's a little bit of life there. Vikings, we know, are done. I think they are literally eliminated. If they're not literally eliminated, then they're effectively eliminated. So I would definitely say we want the Vikings to win. If the Cowboys lose this one, you can basically cross them off. And I know people get on me a little bit when I say I'm concerned about this Cowboys team, but I'm going to keep saying it, man. That offense is the real deal. So be careful. Get them out of here now. And then finally, we got Dolphins Steelers. Again, since we beat the Steelers, we root for them pretty much every week. And I think this week will be no exception because I don't think there's any positive or negative angle for the Dolphins. I don't think that we benefit or lose anything because they win or lose. So, rooting for the Steelers. That's your rooting guide. Actually, quite a bit on the line here. A lot of it kind of feels like it doesn't matter that much unless the Rams or Niners lose, which I mean the Rams could lose to the Lions. The Lions are still a good team, but it is kind of starting to feel like you're narrowing down your focus a little bit, right? You're talking about all these other games. You still want certain things to happen, but you do not want to lose sight of the fact that you just need your team to keep winning. And hopefully that is what happens because it's going to be very hard for us to win the division any other way. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Injury report coming out later today. We'll talk about that when it hits. And yeah, everybody have a great rest of your day. Go Hawks.